Hello and welcome back to the small scape. Yes, we are back from Aquashella, Dallas. I got a sweet new shirt for the collection, and today's video I thought would be really fun. We did a time lapse of an aquascape that I did. I was lucky enough to be invited to be in an aquascaping competition. It was the Creators Challenge. It was over at the Oase booth, which was amazing. As always, the gallery that they put out is totally stunning. And this competition was 6 creators versus 6 aquascapers. I was one of the creators chosen. Yay! And it was so much fun. Now, I'm gonna throw some more numbers at you. It was 1 hour. We got to pick 4 rocks and everything was the same. Everybody got lava rocks and spiderwood. You got to pick 4 rocks and 2 pieces of spiderwood. So it was very even playing field. Like I said, it was timed at 1 hour to complete it. And there were 2 different competitions going on at the same time. They had People's Choice that they gave out 3 awards for, and they gave out 3 prizes for Judges' Choice, actual aquascaping judges, which was very cool. So here's the video. It's a time lapse. I did the best I could to get some footage of it. I hope you enjoy it, and let me know, would you have enjoyed this? Have you ever done an aquascaping challenge? And what would you have done differently? Hope you enjoy. All right, here we are at the competition. Now, first off, I really hope that this angle is okay. It's really that was the best place that I could set up the camera. The other side had, like the front side of it had a massive amount of reflection. Now, I went with pool sand for the #1 reason of that was what we were requested to use, because that's how they had the most of it. So we had 12 competitors and you go through a lot of substrate. And of course, I sloped it up the back just because it gives a lot of depth and dimension, and it uses up space because we only had like 4 rocks and 2 pieces of wood, so I didn't want to run out of space and have it look silly. And of course it looks really cool, for lack of a better aquascaping terminology. I put the driftwood in first just because I needed to know what the kind of direction was going to be, and I really like that these 2 pieces fit together, and I made sure that I knew how they were going in before I put them in, and then I just kind of filled in the rocks around it to make it look like the driftwood was basically resting on it and kind of running through it. And the pieces of lava rock, which I actually have never scaped with before, I went with my usual trick, triangular pieces. They just are very user-friendly and worked out very well. And then one of them I made sure that had like really cool like a, I don't know, interest. Now the plants, that was super fun because they just said, let us know what plants you want. They gave us a big selection of different crypts and buste and Anubias nana petite they had a little bit of, and then some mosses. So you were just able to point and say, I'd like that, and then they would prepare it for you, which was the coolest thing ever. And then they would bring it to you with the rock wool taken off and the slimy stuff from the tissue cultures and all that. Now the crypts I took, of course, to go along the back to give it some height, and as you can see, I've just laid it on top of the substrate in the back because I didn't want to move once I all the hardscaping, the driftwood and the rocks, because it was an hour time limit and I didn't want to mess with it. So I just did a trick that I frequently do, because planting roots can be kind of tricky, especially when they're longer roots. I just laid it on top of the substrate and then later add substrate on top of it. And then I added the moss, and I did it kind of along one of the pieces of driftwood to just give it kind of some kind of flow and some interest right along one part. And then I added the buse along the sides. I did try a few things out and have to remove it, but luckily 1 hour actually is a very decent amount of time. I was kind of panicking, and Jen kept coming over and checking on me and making sure you still have time. And luckily, yes, I did not run out of time, because that was basically my biggest fear. I was also fortunate enough to have LRB on my side over there. He was 2 tanks over, so that was kind of reassuring to have someone there that I knew. And it was a lot of fun. They did provide us with adhesive, like a super glue. It's probably a fancy kind of super glue. And another product, which I will be bringing to you very shortly as soon as I can get my hands on it. A very cool product that I never knew existed. There were also a variety of other substrates that we could use. There are two specific ones that I also will be trying to get my hands on because they are so cool. They're like a little miniature gravel, except this black miniature gravel that I decided to use was so cool because they're rounded edges. There's no sharp edges, which I'm typically used to dealing with our cichlid mixes and all the substrates and the gravels that I usually use. This was amazing, which would, since the corners and they're very like rounded corners, you can use it for a variety of fish that you would not be able to if they have rough edges. And here is the final scape. Once we were done, they took care of filling it. They filled it real nicely. Nothing was dislodged, which I was so happy about. I think it turned out pretty nice. Obviously, the more times I went back, I would change a whole bunch of different things and tweak things and add things and take things away. But it was super fun, and it was actually turned out way better than I thought because it was my very first timed competition. And once again, thank you to everybody who voted, anybody who came by, and I really appreciate it. And it was really, really fun, and I was quite honored to be not only asked to be in the competition, but also receive those great awards, especially the medal that Chattanooga Ed created. Amazing. And I now have official aquascaping tools. I feel so fancy. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I look forward to bringing you some new scapes, maybe even for the Christmas season coming up.